Hey guys, welcome to the AFTERBUZZ TV recap of Roadies Season 1, Episode 7. Lot going on in this episode. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Solo karaoke tonight. Hey guys, I am your host, Tamra Brown. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am flying solo tonight as Madison Conklin is out of town, so you just got me keeping it real intimate tonight for the Roadies AFTERBUZZ panel. Episode 7, this one is called Carpet Season. By the way, you can find me on the interwebs at Hey Tamra on Snapchat and at Brown Tamra on Twitter. I had to think about my own handle for a second there. Carpet Season, guys. That's the name of this episode 7. And I thought, like maybe many of you did, that we were going to see a red carpet. But this actually alluded to Bill's AA session. That was a fun glimpse into a little bit more expose on Bill. Slowly growing on me, I think. I'm liking him more and more. So, this episode starts out a little bit gruesome. We see a car accident at the top of this episode, and it took a while. It took a while to find out what the significance of that was. But we see a car accident. It comes to find out, nobody was hurt. They probably got out. Bill's telling Kellyanne that he's seen a few flipped cars in his day. And they share a photo that Kelly has taken of a bird eating KFC, cannibal bird. I don't know about you, but that popped into my head, that viral image of the KFC rat, the photo that somebody thought that KFC had deep fried a rat, and then it turned out to be false, but that's what I thought at that moment. So this episode, Carpet Season, there's a lot going on, just like every episode of Roadies. So much to talk about, but because I'm flying solo tonight, we're gonna try to keep it as brief as possible. So, in this episode, we see Bill is in an AA meeting. We know at this point that Bill has, he's dealing with being sober. He's been sober for 2 years now, but it's getting a little hard for him now that Christopher is drinking again. And as we know, he and Christopher are buddies since childhood. So, if your sober buddy starts drinking again, that might be difficult for you trying to still remain sober. And in this AA meeting that he goes to, he has this very metaphorical sort of story he weaves about how he is a carpet salesman and how much he cares about carpet. What do you guys think was carpet music in general? Was carpet the band? I think carpet meant music, and his love for music is what keeps him keeps him on the road. So that was a fun dramatic scene to start the episode out with. We also we know that it's Shelley's birthday, and Shelley's husband does something very sweet this episode. As Shelley and Bill have gotten closer and closer, we sort of start to assume that maybe Shelley and Bill are going to, requite this romance that they've been having. But I don't know. I really felt for Shelley's husband on this episode, and so what could that mean for the future? If we're feeling some sympathy for Shelley's husband, being such a doting husband when it's her birthday and doing something so sweet with hiding her gift in the seats. I feel like further down the road, something's going to come of that. Once we finally meet, I can't wait to meet Shelley's husband. Oh, I can't wait to find out who plays Shelley's husband, find out more about him. But my guess right now is that it's going to be the finale when we actually meet Shelley's husband. I'm guessing it's going to be episode 10. So, oh boy, guys, this character of what's her name? Abby Van Ness, the monster that is introduced in this episode. Abby Van Ness. I guess she's supposed to sort of be like an Annie Leibovitz, you know, just renowned photographer. She just has carte blanche. Nobody questions her style and her artistic eye and everything like that. Or, her history with the Rolling Stones and everybody that Johnny Cash, and the name dropping left and right of everybody that she's worked with and, has on her resume. How much do you love Shelley? I've made no secret that, Shelley has kind of been a lukewarm character for me. Haven't been on the Shelley wagon yet. Like I haven't quite gotten on board with her. She's okay, but like she really hasn't stood out to me as like one of my favorite characters yet. But I loved in this episode how Shelley really stood her ground, and Abby tried to put her in her place and push her around a little bit, but Shelley wasn't having it. She's the tour manager, and she's the production manager, and she really rose to the occasion. Go Shelley. That was an impressive stand, and I don't think I previously would have thought her capable of that. So I really enjoyed that. Carla is really doing a great job with the Shelley character. I'm enjoying that this episode. I like Shelley. Let's see. Okay, so we also have Chris. Chris is drinking again, so everybody's a little worried about what's going to happen with that. Is the band going to spiral? We seem to always be on the cusp of disaster. Like, the crew is always waiting for the band to just implode and everything. That's why they have these rituals and these superstitions and these, ceremonies, because they're always trying to seem to ward off like some sort of horrible curse that they think is going to happen. Do you guys see it? I don't think anything terrible is going to happen. I don't think the band is cursed, however many times Kellyanne says that she thinks they might be cursed. But Christopher is drinking again, and that's not a good thing. So we find out at the end of the episode that the songs that he's written while he's drunk have actually been pretty decent. Reg and Phil and Bill the episode ends with sort of this tone of like, it might be okay that Christopher is drinking again, which is an odd message to put out there in the ether. But maybe on a rock and roll tour, who knows? We kind of are saying, okay, Chris, that's all right. You're going to start drinking again. If it makes you more creative and artistic, then have at it, buddy. Go for it. That was the message that I got. Guys, how happy are we to see the return of Ron White? Always a shining star. The Phil character in Roadies. He's so much fun in every scene. He steals every scene that he's in. Super fun to see Phil back, not just over FaceTime or, over the phone. Phil is back in full force, toting his gun and everything that goes along with Phil. It's nice that Phil hasn't, not necessarily showing any aggression towards Reg, but he gives him a little bit of a warning, and he lets him know how he handles his enemies. He's like what's that animal that sort of like looms in the shadows and you never quite know when it's going to pounce? Phil sort of lets Reg know that just kind of everything's cool, we're chill, but you might want to watch your back, buddy. Which is, probably smart for Phil, because my guess is that he's not really, he's never going to fulfill that threat. I think the threat to Reg is really all he's trying to do. He just wants Reg to be scared. I don't think he's ever actually going to retaliate against Reg for firing him. And Reg says that it wasn't him. He's just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger, which Phil could literally do. But Reg says it was Preston, and I was just delivering the message. So I think Phil just kind of threatening Reg is all that he wanted to do. I don't think there's going to actually be a retaliation, but hey, that's my opinion. Maybe we'll see. We'll see down the road. Maybe he's going to off-reg. You never know. He's a loose cannon, that one, that Phil. We've got, how much do we love these guest appearances, these openers? We've had Lindsey Buckingham, we've had Mark Maron, we've had the hint of Jack White. Not sure if that one's actually going to come to fruition or not, but it was really nice in this episode to meet Halsey, and she was a delightful character. There's a little bit of chemistry between She and Wes in this episode, and that was really nice to see. We've heard that Wes is a great guitar player. Oh, and they're in Seattle, by the way. Wes has a history with Pearl Jam. So this is sort of a city that that Wes is presumably familiar with. So he was, he got to show his guitar skill to Halsey, and she offers to have him join her band. And it's sort of a weird offer, I think, because she's like, you can play in the band and also be a techie. So I feel like that's kind of like we're gonna promote you to manager of McDonald's, but you're still gonna have to clean the bathroom. I don't know. But Wes was more than happy to have it. I think because he had a little bit of a crush on Halsey. But Winston overhears that offer. Halsey offers Wes the job, and Winston overhears it. And poor Winston, he thinks he's going to lose the one babysitter that he's actually gotten along with and that has actually been able to give him a little bit of discipline. So do we want Wes to take that job? Hey, by the way, guys, big news. We're going to have Winston be a guest on the last episode of Roadies, episode 10, which is going to air the last Sunday of August. I believe it is Sunday the 28th. Tune in for that AfterBuzz because we are going to have Winston here on the panel with us. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So, at the end of the episode, Halsey has to tell Wes that, we don't have it in the budget. We don't have room on the bus. It seems like just a lot of lame excuses. She kind of just jumped the gun because maybe, Wes is a handsome dude. Maybe she got a little, she had a little thing for him too. They definitely had some chemistry together. So she kind of jumped the gun in offering him to join her tour, and lame excuses why it didn't work out. But all the best for Winston because he gets to keep his babysitter, and the band gets to keep their espresso maker. So that's pretty rad for everyone all around. I think Wes was torn about whether he really wanted to go or not anyway. But that weird little fake fight breakup between Wes and Halsey. I think Winston, we've seen that Winston is a very precocious child. He's a really smart kid. I feel like the dramatics of that fake fight, I can't go with you no matter what you offer. I think he's too smart to fall for it, but I don't think he cared. I think that kid would know that fight was fake, but I think he was just happy to have Wes staying on tour with him, and that's all that mattered to him. So, oh well. We've got and then when Wes was telling Kelly Ann that I think I'm gonna leave, and she's like, you should go. Kellyanne clearly didn't mean that. And so his twin sister is happy that he's staying on tour too. I think we all are. We're glad Wes is staying. Did any of us really believe that he would actually go? I didn't. So this monster photographer, Abby, and her assistant, Bethany, who's just making these crazy demands. Guys, that dressing down that she gives poor Kellyanne. Now, again, I've said in previous reviews of the episodes, Kellyanne hasn't been my favorite character either because she's just a little too perfect for my taste. But this episode and last episode, where we're just seeing her be a little bit vulnerable, we're seeing her get hurt by Reg a little bit, and it's making me it's getting me on Kellyanne's side. I'm getting way more behind Kellyanne. Getting on Team Kellyanne a little bit more here because of this. God, that ruthless, it was just a ruthless dressing down that Abby gave her about, oh, you're a photographer. Oh, I assume your mother gave you a camera and thought that you took an amazing photo. And, well, guess what? You don't have any talent. And she goes through her photos and she sees the picture of the car accident and she says, oh, you're going through your overturned car phase. And she sees the photo of the bird eating KFC and she's not impressed. And she's like, you have no talent. I can't even imagine if somebody that I really looked up to and idolized came at me with those kind of words. That's insanity. Like, I think if I were in Kellyanne's position there, I would have just like covered my face and ran away. I would have died of embarrassment and of humiliation and just such a painful scene to watch, let alone imagine what it would be like to have to deal with that. And then just like Shelley stands up to her, Kellyanne stands up to her too and is just like, what did she say? Like, you're just a cold, awful person. And that was kind of enough. Like, she just needed to say, like, you're a terrible person. And, oh, by the way, my mom, like, oh, I'm an orphan. So you're also an asshole for suggesting that my mom coddled me. Like, just Kelly's 2 sentences she said to her there, that was kind of enough to just be like, put Abby in her place. So that was very enjoyable. And rooting for you now, Kellyanne. Good job. Let's see. The photo shoot that Abby only had like 10 minutes to get of the band before they go on stage because, Shelley's not making any room for Abby. She's got all these weird props and she's saying they're not going to want to put on makeup and you're not going to get them on the horse and blah, 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 blah. Well, we see how that just blows up and turns into this like crazy chaotic scene. Chris won't turn and face the camera. And yeah, she's not able to get any shot of the entire band until Kellyanne just walks by and happens to hit, and she gets it. So we see the little shot that she gets of the band and everything flying, and Abby sort of like, she sees the picture, she sees the photo that Kellyanne took, and then she like looks up, and we see Kellyanne walking off in the distance, and she kind of does this like turn. She does this turn to what's her name, Abby Van Ness. What do we think that meant? Was Kelly saying like, "You're welcome"? Did she take the picture intentionally knowing that Abby Van Ness was going to get credit for it? Or was that her saying like, I just wanted to show you my talent? Or was that like, was she assuming that she was going to get credit for it when Abby eventually publishes it? I don't know. I don't have an opinion of what to take away from that little turn that Kellyanne did after she snapped the picture. Let me know what you think. I guess maybe we'll find out in a future episode. I don't know if they're going to revisit that photo, if it's going to come back. But I'm curious. I'm curious if Abby is going to take credit for that photo or give credit where credit is due. Let's see. Looking at my notes here, is there anything else? There's an interesting, Reg and Kellyanne, because Reg wanted to... Oh, we didn't talk about Mike Finger yet. So we find out that he stole the yearbook and he also stole the iPad. And so they know right away. Right away, as soon as they said these things are missing, who could have stole them? I think all of our minds went to Mike Finger. So then they just show up at his house and confront him about it because Puna, is that the character's name, has find my iPad. As we all of us who are Apple savvy, we have that installed because you need it in this day and age. So they go to Mike Finger's house and they find this like amazing just museum of artifacts, and Phil and Bill and Reg just have this moment of, just going down memory lane, even though Reg hasn't been there that long, but like he gets to join Phil and Bill on this like trip down memory lane, and the Frisbee and they're explaining the different photos from this and that, not even realizing that somebody was there to take these photos. And somehow Mike Finger, which they called him the band's archivist, all got this in his possession. It was almost border. Was it obsessive? I didn't find it like creepy or anything, because I feel like there's people that really are that into a band that they get that obsessed and have, a room in their house devoted to a band. I don't find that weird. Maybe some people do, but I find Mike Finger to just be like just a enthusiastic fan. I don't find his obsession, overwhelming or too creepy or anything like that. I think it's important to have people out there like that have that much invested in their love of a band. I really appreciate that. I don't have an homage in my house to a certain band, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't one day. Maybe I will. But Phil goes and is his threatening, does his threatening to Mike Finger as well. And he's able to get the iPad back, Chris's iPad back, and also the yearbook that Janine wanted back. So we see that Reg is still sort of, I guess he still has feelings for Janine, despite what she did to him. She used him, but he wants to be the one to give the yearbook back to Janine. It was that was a nice scene at the end between Kellyanne and Reg, sort of reconnecting. I think Kellyanne, she clearly still has feelings for Reg, and I think Reg was basically saying like, "Help me, I'm misguided," I don't know if his feelings are back for her yet. He still seems pretty caught up on Janine. I don't know how he could be. Somebody uses you like that. That's crazy. But I think he'll come around maybe in the next couple episodes back to Kellyanne. And we haven't seen, they mentioned last episode that Chris is starting to have a thing for Kellyanne, but we haven't really seen enough of Chris to see that, played out or not. So maybe we're going to see that in the future too. Let's see. Is there anything else that I missed that we need to go over before we call it a night? By the way, so I did mention briefly, they were in Seattle this episode. I love Bill's circle up in the morning, more so than Phil's, because just the details about, Quincy Jones, and he never seems to go for the obvious in whatever city he's in. He never seems to mention like the band that first comes to mind, because, Seattle, they're in Seattle. I think we all think Nirvana and, grunge bands, but, Bill talks about Quincy Jones and like all, the history of people that maybe you didn't even know came from Seattle. And I love those little details. That's, to me, I think that's Cameron Crowe shining through, is that like a little bit more obscure knowledge. And I like learning those things with every episode. So I'm super enjoying Bill's like specific to city morning circles. Looking forward to those, whatever the final 4 cities that they go to for the rest of this season. I don't want, could it be like, I'm sure they're going to come to LA, San Francisco, maybe. Austin, that's probably one that they're going to hit. I would assume Austin or some city in Texas, but we'll see. We've got 4 episodes left. No, wait, No, we've got 3 episodes left. I'm sorry. 3 episodes left, guys. So that means 3 more cities that the band is going to hit and 3 more openers that we're going to meet. So, who could it be? I'm sticking with maybe we're going to see Jack White in the finale. Who knows? Maybe there's going to be several people for the season finale. Very interesting to get there. So, that was episode 7. Shelley opens up her present from her husband. Bill's the one that finds it hidden in the seat. He's about to give Shelley a photo that they retrieved from Mike Finger's house, and he decides to hold off because he wants her to have a happy birthday with the sweet moment that the gift that her husband gave her, and he's gonna let her sort of revel in that for a minute. So the will they, won't they continues. The back and forth, the Sam and Diane sort of romance, the Ross and Rachel, whichever parallel to TV couples you want to make, will they, won't they. I think that's just going to continue to happen. I don't think they're going to end up together in the end of this season as we draw closer to the end. So, speaking of drawing closer to the end, guys, I think we are going to wrap it up there. So, thank you so much for bearing with me alone for this AfterBuzz TV recap of Season 1, Episode 7 of Roadies. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment below. We are so happy to have you, and tell me your thoughts if you agreed or disagreed with anything that I said in this episode. Really enjoying it, liking each of the main characters more and more. So thank you again for tuning in. See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.